Have you ever considered the possibility of being addicted to your credit card? It may sound a bit far-fetched at first, but hear me out. Many of us are acquainted with the concept of addiction, whether it's to substances like alcohol or drugs or behaviors like gambling. But there's a less obvious yet equally potent addiction that often goes unnoticed: the credit card addiction. Just like any other addiction, it's characterized by a compulsive need, in this case, to spend money that isn't ours. It's an alluring trap, one that promises instant gratification, but leaves a trail of debt and financial instability in its wake. The seriousness of this issue can't be understated. In a society that encourages consumption, it's easy to fall into this cycle. However, it's crucial to remember that this isn't a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It's an issue that needs addressing. Just like any other addiction, recognizing the problem is the first step towards recovery. So, how do you know if you're addicted to your credit card? It's a question that may seem a tad dramatic, but it's one that we need to ask ourselves. Credit card addiction is like any other addiction. It's a compulsive behavior that can be harmful if not addressed. One of the most common signs of credit card addiction is maxing out your cards. You find yourself pushing the limits of your credit card, spending up to the very last cent of your credit limit. This behavior isn't just about buying what you need. It's about the thrill of buying, the rush of swiping that card. Another red flag is only making the minimum payments. It's like treading water in a pool of debt, barely keeping your head above the surface. You're not really making any progress, just staying afloat. And with every swipe of the card, the water level rises, making it harder and harder to stay above. Are you using your credit card even when it's not necessary? That's another sign. You might find yourself reaching for that piece of plastic even when you have cash in your wallet or money in your bank account. It's like a reflex, an automatic response. And then there's the anxiety. Do you feel anxious or uneasy when you don't have your credit card with you? Does the thought of leaving your house without it make you uncomfortable? That's a sign you might be too dependent on your credit card. Ignoring the problem is a classic sign of addiction. You might find yourself dismissing concerns about your credit card use or making excuses for why you need to use it. You might even avoid looking at your credit card statement because you don't want to face the reality of your debt. If you recognize any of these signs, it might be time to reassess your relationship with your credit cards. It doesn't mean you have to cut up all your cards and go cold turkey, but it does mean it's time to take a hard look at your spending habits and to consider seeking help if you need it, because credit card addiction is real, and like any addiction, it can be overcome. The cost of credit card addiction goes beyond financial ruin. It's a burden that weighs heavily, not just on your wallet, but on your mind, your heart, and your relationships. Consider the emotional cost first. It's like carrying around a heavy backpack that you can't seem to take off. The constant worry about how to make the next payment, the fear of debt collectors, the guilt of spending beyond your means. These emotions can become your constant companions, casting a shadow on your daily life. They can lead to chronic stress, which takes a toll on your physical health, leading to issues like high blood pressure, heart problems, and insomnia. Then, there are the psychological costs. The addiction to credit cards can be a vicious cycle. You use the card to alleviate feelings of sadness or stress, but the resulting debt only adds to these feelings, pushing you to use the card again. This can lead to feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, and even result in clinical depression or anxiety. And let's not forget the social costs. Credit card addiction can strain relationships. It can lead to arguments about money, secrecy about spending habits, and even breakups or divorces. It can also lead to isolation, as you might start avoiding social events to save money or out of shame for your situation. The cost of credit card addiction is not only measured in dollars and cents, but in tears, sleepless nights, and broken relationships. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering momentum and size, threatening to bury you in an avalanche of debt and despair. But remember, every snowball starts small, and so does every solution. Recognizing the high cost of credit card addiction is the first step towards healing. It's about understanding that the temporary high of a new purchase will never outweigh the lasting peace of financial stability. It's about accepting that the price of credit card addiction is not just monetary, but emotional, psychological, and social. The price of credit card addiction is far too high to pay. Breaking free from credit card addiction is not easy, but it is possible. The journey to financial freedom may seem daunting, but it is indeed achievable. It all begins with recognizing the problem at hand. This step is often the hardest as it requires you to confront the reality of your situation. It's about admitting to yourself that your relationship with credit cards is unhealthy and that it's time for a change. Once you've identified the problem, it's time to reach out for help. This could be a trusted friend, family member, or a financial advisor. It's important to remember that you're not alone in this. There are people who care about you and want to see you succeed, so don't be afraid to lean on them for support. With help and support in place, the next step is to make a plan. This involves setting a realistic budget and creating a schedule for paying off your debts. It may seem overwhelming at first, but remember, the goal is to make steady progress and not to solve everything overnight. Sticking to the plan is the next crucial step. It's easy to be tempted to fall back into old habits, especially when the going gets tough. But remember, every step you take towards your goal is a step away from your addiction. It's about building new, healthier habits that will replace the old ones. And lastly, celebrate your small victories. Every time you resist the urge to swipe that credit card, every time you stick to your budget, every time you make a payment towards your debt, it's a win. Celebrate these moments because they are proof that you are making progress. Remember, the journey to financial freedom is not a sprint, but a marathon. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every day that will eventually lead you to your goal. So keep going, keep fighting, and before you know it, you'll have broken the chains of credit card addiction. Knowledge is power, and this is particularly true when it comes to managing your finances. Why is that, you may ask? Well, let's dive right into it. When we talk about financial literacy, we're referring to the understanding and application of various financial skills, including personal finance management, budgeting, and investing. These skills are crucial for preventing and overcoming credit card addiction. You see, the more you understand about how your finances work, the better equipped you are to make sound decisions that will benefit you in the long run. Now, let's talk about interest rates. These pesky little percentages can sneak up on you if you're not careful. Understanding how they work can help you avoid falling into the credit card debt trap. Think of it this way: the lower your interest rate, the less you'll have to pay back in the long run. So it pays to shop around for the best rates before diving into a credit card agreement. Then there's your credit score. This 3-digit number can affect so much in your life, from getting a loan to renting an apartment. By understanding how your credit score is calculated and how your financial behaviors can affect it, you can take steps to improve it. And let's not forget about budgeting and saving. These aren't just buzzwords thrown around by financial gurus. They're essential tools for managing your money effectively. Knowing how much money you have coming in and where it's going can help you plan for the future and avoid unnecessary debt. At the end of the day, financial literacy is about empowerment. It's about having the knowledge to make informed decisions, the confidence to take control of your financial future, and the tools to break free from the chains of credit card addiction. Remember, it's never too late to learn these skills. There are plenty of resources out there to help you on your journey to financial literacy. Financial literacy is not just about understanding numbers, it's about gaining control over your life. So, empower yourself with knowledge and take the first step towards a financially healthy future. Overcoming credit card addiction is a journey, not a destination. Just like any other journey, it's filled with ups, downs, detours, and sometimes roadblocks. But don't let that discourage you. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a stride towards a healthier financial future. Now you might be thinking, I've overcome my credit card addiction. I'm good now, right? Well, not so fast. Overcoming addiction is one thing, maintaining that success is another. It's important to keep up with those healthy financial habits you've worked so hard to establish. That means continuing to budget, monitor your spending, and most importantly, live within your means. But don't worry, you're not alone on this journey. The road ahead is filled with resources to help you stay on track. From financial advisors and self-help books to online courses and seminars, there's a wealth of knowledge out there waiting for you to tap into it. Remember, continuous learning is key to maintaining financial health. So don't be afraid to seek out new information or even revisit old lessons. And let's not forget about the importance of vigilance. Just as a recovered alcoholic must always be aware of the temptation to drink, so must you be mindful of the lure of easy credit. Keep a close eye on your financial habits. If you notice that you're slipping back into old patterns, don't hesitate to seek help. Reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or financial advisor for support. In the end, the road ahead may seem long and daunting, but it's a journey worth taking. You've come this far, and there's no reason you can't go further. It's all about taking it one step at a time, staying focused on your goal, and remembering that you have the power to control your financial future. Remember, every step you take towards financial health is a step away from credit card addiction. So keep stepping forward and don't look back. The road ahead is yours to conquer. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We've delved into the hidden world of credit card addiction, unmasking its telltale signs. We've understood the high price tag that comes with this addiction, but we've also explored the steps to break free from these chains. We've underscored the power of financial literacy, a key tool in this journey. And finally, we've looked at the road ahead, an ongoing journey towards financial health. Remember, you have the power to overcome credit card addiction and regain control over your finances.